What is going on, everyone? Welcome back here today to episode 10 now of the Just Ballin' podcast. And today, we have an interesting episode here today. Me and my friend Tom here.
What's going on, guys?
We're going to give you guys our top 20 players so far this season. So it's actually going to be a pretty fun list to make. You excited to do this?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So yeah, we're going to just give our rankings of top 20. Obviously, your rankings would be completely different. If you put 100 people in a room and they all made a top 20, not two, would be the same. So yeah, we're going to give you guys our top 20, and let's get into this. So to start off with number 1, this one's pretty easy. You got Giannis?
I actually have LeBron at number 1.
Oh, okay. Wow, we're starting off different. Why'd you have LeBron at 1?
Because I just feel that, since he's been to the finals so many times in the past decade and however long he's been dominant for, he's the guy in the NBA to beat. And I just feel that every single year, no matter what, he's the guy that the NBA kind of, sets the bar at. And he's also going to his age 35 season, hasn't missed a single beat. He's averaging 25.9, 7.4, and 10.6, really putting on one of the best passing displays in the NBA we've seen so far this season. And not to mention the Lakers are sitting atop the West at 24-4 right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mainly put Giannis just because he's been incredible on the defensive end.
Of course.
And, so you're mainly not giving LeBron out of the number 1 spot just because of his credibility. And, it would take a lot for somebody to take his spot,
exactly.
as 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I just think personally this season, Giannis, I think he's having a defensive player of the year type season. And I just think his offensive numbers are still off the charts. They just lost the other night to, I believe it was the Dallas Mavericks. And it wasn't his fault whatsoever. I believe he had 48 or something like that. He had 48 points on 18 of 31 shooting, so it was really efficient. And yeah, he's been a great defender this year, and I actually like that he's actually caring to take shots from outside, 16 feet, like another guy like Ben Simmons. He doesn't really attempt that, but at least Giannis is trying. The only knock on him is probably his free throws. So yeah, we're disagreeing at number 1, so I'm interested to see who you have at 2. Is it Giannis?
It's Giannis, yeah.
Okay, so you have Giannis at 2. I have James Harden. The reason I have James Harden is just because I believe the Rockets are 18-9 at this current moment through 27 games. Yeah, they're 18-9. And I mean, do you like Harden? Are you a Harden guy, or are you?
I think he's a very, very, very good basketball player. It's just interesting for me to see how he'll play with Westbrook for the remainder of this year, because you've seen Westbrook's numbers take a dip, and Harden's obviously, his scoring performance is nothing short of amazing. So. He's definitely having a fantastic year, and putting him at 2, you really can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 39 points a game. He is also taking 25 shots a night, shooting 44% from the field, which is below league average, and 36 from 3, which is about league average, a little bit below. He's also getting to the line 13 times a night, more than anybody in the NBA. I just think his offensive performance this season really can't go unnoticed outside the top 2. If I ended this season now, I would have him as my second MVP guy, as Giannis would be 1. So who do you have at 3?
3, I have Anthony Davis.
Okay, all right. So why do you have 80 over Harden or Luka?
I think he's always been a top 5 guy in the NBA, and this year, now that he finally has, a spot in LA that he's happy at, and you can see he's just much more, maybe confidence the word, maybe just improved is something that I've seen when watching the Laker games. It's honestly really just him and LeBron hitting their full stride together, and they're really a force to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah, I think he's the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year at this moment.
Yeah, that too. Honestly, he's playing fantastic and in every aspect.
Yeah, I honestly think he's having a better season than LeBron. Just personally, just because obviously the defense. He's averaging 27.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and he's actually taking 3.5 threes a game, which is nice to see. And he's a big part of why the Lakers are 24-4. And I believe he didn't play last night, right?
He didn't play last night,
in the Pacers
no.
game. So yeah, my number 3 player is Luka Doncic. It sucks he got hurt, but I think Luka. I mean, nobody thought the Mavericks are going to be this good this year. They're 18-8, 10 games over 500 through their first 26. And their second best player, Kristaps, hasn't even been that good this year. He's definitely been their second best player, but I wouldn't even say he's been good. At least what we expected from Kristaps, even coming back from the ACL injury. Luka's averaging 27.5 points, 9 rebounds, and also. Wow. Okay. Never mind. We're gonna cut that out, but it won't be too obvious. I was like, why the fuck does Luka have 3.5 assists? And I was like, okay.
You're looking at AD?
Anthony Davis. So yeah. All right, that'll be fine. Yeah, excuse me. He's actually averaging 29 points a game, 9 assists, and 9.5 rebounds. Mavericks are 18-8. He's shooting 33% from three, which isn't great. But I just think Luka, all around this season, as a sophomore, is the third best player in the NBA. So we've had some parity in the top three. You had LeBron. Who was your two? Giannis, and then 3 AD. Okay, I had Giannis, Harden, and Luka. So my fourth was LeBron. We already talked about LeBron pretty much, but yeah. Second, I think he's the second best player on arguably the best team in the NBA at this moment. I mean, this man is 35 years old and he's playing like he's 26. He never ages. He's gonna be a top 5 MVP guy at the end of the year, and yeah, I think he's self-explanatory for my fourth guy. Who's your fourth?
My fourth is Luka. Pretty much the same thing you just said. 8 triple doubles this season. At like a sophomore season, age 20. The guy's really tearing up the league in every aspect with KP by his side, who's having a bit of his rebound year from his injuries with when he was on the Knicks.
Okay, yeah. So we definitely had some parity in the top 4. I'm guessing your fifth guy is Harden?
My fifth guy is Harden, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my fifth guy is Anthony Davis. We talked about those guys. Both been incredible this year. Harden on the offensive end, Anthony Davis on the defensive end. Harden hasn't been horrible on the offensive end. I mean, like, he hasn't had a lot to work with. I mean, Westbrook's been solid, but he's been really inefficient, and obviously, they've been missing Eric Gordon, and he was pretty bad before his injury. And Anthony Davis obviously benefits playing with LeBron. Yeah. So this is where we're probably going to get some different numbers or different people here, different spots. My sixth guy is Pascal Siakam.
My sixth guy is Karl-Anthony Towns.
Okay, so why'd you have Cat over some guys that maybe are in the playoff hunt or at least top teams in the NBA?
I think that he's 6'10", and he's obviously one of the big dominant big men in the league. And he's a huge three-point threat. Like, he takes so many threes a game. I believe it's 8, if I'm not mistaken, last I read. And also, like, Andrew Wiggins kind of finding his stride and figuring his game out, like, a little more. That, I feel, can only help Towns. The Timberwolves are struggling a little bit. Like, they are sitting at, with a record of 10-15. Yeah. So, you know, you'd really love to see them make a playoff push, maybe push for the 8 or 7 seed when we get closer to March and April, when it starts getting down to it. But overall, I think he's playing very, very, very well this year, and you can't take much away from him.
You think they make a trade? Like Kyle Lowry, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, one of those guys?
That's what I was going to say for a guard. You heard the D'Lo talking in the offseason. Yeah. That would be awesome to watch with Towns, Wiggins, and D'Lo on the same court. Like, that would be something that you would want to watch, like, in a couple years to come, because they're all in their, like, low to mid-20s. What Wiggins is...
I believe he's like 23.
22, yeah, 20. So, and, you know, they're all around the same age. So, you know, Towns won the same year as D'Lo went, and I believe Wiggins went the year before. So they're all very young, only playing 1 year of college. I think it'd be great to watch them all together.
Yeah, this is Wiggins' 6th year, and he's only 24. I think the main reason, like, why you should get D'Lo is because it'll keep Cat happy. It's his, like, boy, and, like, you don't want Cat to hit pending free agency in 5 years from now, or 4 years, whatever it is, and he's unhappy. He never got that number 2 there, because I don't know if Wiggins is that guy. So my 6th guy was Pascal Siakam. The Toronto Raptors at this current moment of the recording are 18-8, 10 games over 500. I don't think people thought they were going to be this good right away, but I think a lot of people didn't really expect the jumps from Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet and the underrated plays of Chris Boucher, who I think's fallen out of the rotation, or Terrence Davis, or Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson, and guys like that. But Pascal Siakam could possibly win Most Improved Player again.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, he's 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3.5 assists. It's a bigger jump this year, I think, than his jump from his second and third year, which got him Most Improved Player. So, yeah, my 6th guy was Pascal Siakam. Yours was Towns. Is your 7th Siakam, or is it somebody different?
My 7th is Kawhi.
Okay, so is mine. Do you want to talk about Kawhi for a little?
Yeah, I'll talk about Kawhi. So, obviously, we know the Clippers are still playing very well. They're sitting at the 2 seed in the West right now without Paul George for a segment of the season, and even without Kawhi, like with his load management for his knee. You know, what I think keeping him out of the top 5 is the load management, playing when he's fully healthy, playing 60, 65 games a year. I think, you know, to be tier 1 and to be, you know, in that MVP conversation, personally, I feel, you guys may feel different, that you got to be ready to compete every single night. And I understand that he does this so he can play better in the playoffs, which is something that he's made a choice to help his career. but I put him at 7 just because I feel just the load management hold him a little bit back.
Yeah, I have him at 7 too. He actually went through like a little bit of a rough stretch. 7 games, he's shooting 38% from the field and 26 from 3. But his season averages are pretty solid. He is shooting about 45% from the field, 36 on threes, 48 on twos, 25.5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. I think that's a big thing for him this year. His passing has gone a lot better. His mid-range shooting has also been pretty good. And obviously we know about his defense. So it was kind of a no-brainer to have Kawhi in the top 10, even with him missing some time. And I think that's just, I think it's better for his long-term status or his long-term health going throughout the year. So your number 8 guy, who do you got?
My guy is Siakam.
Okay. Yeah, so we talked about Siakam for a little bit. Mine was Damian Lillard. It sucks that the Blazers are not too good this year. They're 11-16, but the bottom of the West isn't that good, so they still have realistic playoff hopes this year, and obviously they've been dealt with injuries, with Nurkic being out already, or at least the start of the year. He'll be back, I think, in February, and Zach Collins is out until probably March. They had to sign Melo, but Lillard has been kind of incredible. He's been cooling off a little bit as of late, but he's still averaging 26 points, 7.5 assists, 44 from the field, 36 on threes on 9 attempts a game. Still handling the ball completely well, still controlling the floor. I think this might be one of his best passing years of his career. He's averaging a career high 7.5 assists. And I don't really think their 11-16 fault is really him. I think it's mainly due to the team Neil O'Shea built in the offseason. So yeah, you said you had Pascal at 8?
I have Pascal at 8.
Okay. Do you have Lillard at 9?
I actually have Jimmy Butler at 9.
Okay. Yeah, so I thought I was going to give Jimmy some love too. I don't have him in my top 9. You just really like his defense this year and kind of
and I love that he's on a new team. He's jumped around a bit for the Sixers, Timberwolves, and he really just wants to, to find his spot and compete. And I think the Heat are really doing it this year. Like they're the 4 seed sitting right now, 11 games over 500. They played phenomenal at home. I believe they were undefeated at home until they lost to the Lakers earlier this week, or maybe end of last week. And
11-1. Yeah, that was their first sell.
And something else, like I feel like the East this year is just much better than it has been in the past. Yeah, definitely. Because like if you look at the standings, like the Bucks are tied for the best record, and then the Sixers are 20-8, Celtics 17-7, Heat 19-8, and the Raptors, think of the 5 seed at 18-8. The Raptors have pretty much been the 1 seed every single year. For the most part.
Yeah, and the Pacers are 19-9 too without Oladipo and Miles Turner missing some time.
And that's going to be exciting when Oladipo comes back. I really think the Pacers have a serious shot at making the conference finals or even upsetting the Bucks this year if Oladipo comes back.
I do too. They match up well with some teams defensively. If Oladipo has his defensive ability back right away, and Brogdon's a good defender, Turner's solid rim protector. Yeah, they could. Exactly. I think they could definitely go.
I honestly love Malcolm Brogdon. I've loved him ever since he was in college at Virginia. He was that gritty guy on those teams, and he was always someone I hated to watch North Carolina play. I always.
Yeah. So yeah, I had at 9. You had Jimmy Butler or 8? You had Jimmy Butler.
I had Jimmy at 9.
Okay, so my 9th guy was Karl-Anthony Towns. We talked about him, an insane year. I mean, the reason I have him and Lillard, I guess lower than other people, or at least lower than guys on this list, is just because of their record so far. Is it really their fault? No, their teams aren't as strong around them, but that's just kind of what I incorporated or just considered when I made this list. So we are wrapping out the top 10 now. I have Jimmy Butler at 10. Tom already talked about him. He's been incredible on both sides of the ball this year, been their leader, big part of why they're 19-8 and one of the best home teams in the NBA. Who's your 10th guy?
I have Bradley Beal at 10, actually.
Okay. Yeah, Bradley Beal has been incredible this year on another poor team. Wizards 8-17, one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, but one of the best offensive teams, and his numbers have been incredible.
Yeah, honestly, and I feel that since John Wall has really had these struggles over the past couple of years, Beal is really becoming he's the guy. It's no longer I shouldn't say no longer. It's becoming more of Bradley Beal being the full leader of this team because John Wall missing so much time, and you hate to see it because he's such a good talent. But he's becoming a serious superstar in this league.
Yeah, I'm thinking nowadays he might go for what Paul George went for in the offseason. I feel like if you're building a championship team, he might be the best number 2 on a championship team.
I think he deserves a max or a super max even.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's only 26 though, and I feel like he's been in the NBA forever.
Yeah, clearly a max, but it's just if he makes that All NBA team, it gives him just that extra that extra say to be able to compete for a serious super max.
Do you remember who Cleveland or the 2012 draft? He went third, and then Cleveland ended up going Deion Waiters because they really wanted Beal, and they were like, crap, we need a shooting guard. And they took a guy who didn't even start at college, and I think he got suspended again, or he just got suspended.
Yeah, I think something else happened recently.
Yeah, he's a mess.
He's been playing well though, as of
who Waiters?
Yeah, he like the last couple years or so, he's had serious improvements over.
Yeah, I mean, he did average 16 points in 2016-17 on actually pretty solid efficiency.
And he probably went to like 15 last year.
Last year was 14, but his efficiency dropped. That would be 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago. Last year, he averaged about 12 points on like 38 from 3, which is actually pretty solid, but he's a head case, and he'd have a good culture, so they're obviously not going to deal with that. Yeah. We wrapped out our top 10. Do you just want to go through your top 10 really quickly?
Yeah, I'll recap really quick. It's so I had LeBron at 1, Giannis at 2, AD at 3, Luka 4, Harden 5, Town 6, Kawhi 7, Pascal Siakam 8, Jimmy Butler 9, and Bradley Beal rounding out at number 10.
Word. And then I had Giannis at 1, Harden at 2, Luka at 3, LeBron at 4, AD at 5, Siakam at 6, Leonard at 7, Damian Lillard at 8, Cat at 9, and then Jimmy Butler at 10. All right, so we're going to do our next 10 here, starting at 11. I'll start off for this. I had Bradley Beal, and we just talked about him.
Yeah.
Really good scorer this year, arguably. Do you think he'll be a All-Star Game starter, or do you think he won't be a starter? Just because they're
if you line it up, who in the East really is playing a better 2? I think maybe Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's considered a 2 or a 3 this year. But I guess if Jimmy Butler is considered a 2, I mean, no, he's been playing the 3.
He's been playing the 3.
Yeah, so I don't even know. I guess you really.
I think Bill is really.
Unless they go like 2 point guards, but like Kyrie's not gonna. I don't think start. If he
only
misses
played
all
10
these
games or something.
I mean, I feel like Kemba. All right, he'll start. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I think Beal might start.
Well,
but yeah,
if you do a hypothetical, you'd probably say, I guess Kemba's probably the starting point guard, and then the 3 is obviously Giannis.
Yeah,
or if you want
I would probably put Giannis
put
4, Siakam technically 3.
Okay, yeah, so Giannis and Siakam,
and then you put Embiid 5, maybe Butler 3, Butler 2. Like you might just run that out.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because I feel like it's hard to make the All-Star game as a starter if your team's not good. Right?
Yeah,
they're 8 and 17.
All those guys are on very good teams. Are those the top 4 teams?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like Sixers, Raptors.
Bucks, Sixers,
Celtics. Yeah. So I have him at 11. Who do you got at 11?
Damian Lillard.
Okay.
We talked about him before. He's having a great year. Just I really want to see the Blazers because they made the conference finals last year. Like,
yeah, I know.
You want
big deal.
I love seeing them compete, especially with. Now, like the West, I feel is kind of shaken up a bit with the Warriors out of it. So it's gonna be interesting.
If you could trade Whiteside or Bazemore in their first, like who do you go after? Like a Gallo, or do you go after like a Marcus Morris or Kevin Love?
I've heard some talks of the Knicks wanting to trade
Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been incredible this year, actually.
Yeah, and he's been a good ball stopper.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, do you want another like ball stopper on that team with Lillard, McCollum, and Melo?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. I feel like he could be a good bench piece, but maybe take over Rodney Hood's minutes. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's a weird fit, and they also need defensive help. And then you're playing Marcus Morris, who's like a average defender, at best. And then Lillard and McCollum are kind of below average defenders, and then Melo's not very good. And then Nurkic wasn't really a great rim protector when he was healthy. They'll definitely. I don't know who they would even go after. I don't even know. So we'll move on to 12 now. Who do you got at 12?
12, I have Kemba.
Okay. Why'd you got Kemba at 12?
I got Kemba at 12 just because I think it's awesome that he proved everybody wrong who was questioning, like, can he replace Kyrie? Like, what they lose Kyrie and they go and sign Kemba. There's no doubt that he was a fantastic player last year. He was All-NBA third team, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So... he got paid, he got his money, and he's playing phenomenal right now. He's averaging 23, 4 and 5. Like you really can't ask for much more on a team with so much talent to where he's not going to be averaging 30 and 10 because
Lillard not Lillard, Tatum, Brown.
Yeah, Tatum, Brown. Yeah, they're all playing fantastic around him. So and I think the Celtics they're the 3 seed in the East right now. Yeah, the 3. I think he's playing very well. Gritty guy on a really good Celtics team.
Yeah, and
I love watching him.
He's shooting 41% from 3 on 9 attempts, which is incredible. My 12th guy, I don't know. I wanted to put him high, and I did. It's just he's a definitely a hit or miss guy sometimes. Joel Embiid I put at 12. He's missed some time, obviously, as you'd expect, but he's played 22 games this year, and the Sixers have played 28 total, so he's missed 6 games. Say what you will about that, but he's averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, and about over a block a game. I think he's been a fantastic rim protector. It just frustrates me so much watching the Sixers because he takes 3.5 threes a night, and he's shooting 32% on them, which, I mean, is better this year than last year. But he's not a very good three-point shooter, and I hate that people still fall for his pump fake out there. Like, Jokic falls for it all the time, and then, like, I don't know, him and Simmons in the half court are just really weird fits, because Simmons won't shoot, he wants to speed up the game, Embiid wants to slow down the game, but I think Embiid has been really good on both sides of the ball. I have him at 12, but if you want to have him lower, it's perfectly understandable. I'm a sucker for defense, so I got him at 12. So we can move on to 13. We haven't mentioned this guy yet. Paul George is my 13th guy. Paul George has actually played a decent amount of games now. I believe he's played 18. I'm just going to double check that now. Yeah, he's played 18 games this year. He's averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, about 4 assists a night. And he's basically turning into a small forward version of Steph Curry. I mean, it's kind of a stretch to say that, but he's taking 10 threes a night and hitting 40% of them, which is fantastic. I mean, it's not like Steph Curry numbers, like 44% or something like that on even more volume, but I think he's been incredible. He's been a really good defender, and he's only playing 30 minutes a night compared to like 37, 36, 36 over the last 3 years. I'd expect him to play more. Who do you have at 13?
My 13's Embiid.
Okay.
I mean, it's just... Well, I want to see the Sixers give the Bucks run for their money this year. You know, it's always interesting to see the East have so many competitive teams. I hope it's interesting.
Yeah. If you had to go your Eastern Conference Finals, do you think it's Sixers Bucks?
Honestly, I really like Boston this year. I think
You do?
I think Boston's
Even without
Boston,
like a true 5 or like a good 5.
Exactly, like that's it's a question mark, but it's something that with good coaching and good improvement as a team and adjustments that they could game plan for it. They're a great team.
I just think it's so hard to bet against Giannis, but I think if we got Raptors Bucks and then Sixers Celtics in the semis, like that might be more entertaining, and then the Western Conference semifinals.
But I honestly love the Heat this year. Like I think I think they're my second pick to make the conference final. I think the Sixers have 1 or 2 more years of really of getting there before they can be in the conference. But honestly, they can make it without a doubt. But I think Jimmy's hungrier than he ever has been before. I think the Celtics are all clicking on all cylinders right now. I hope the Sixers stay healthy.
Yeah, definitely, because Embiid, Horford, all of injury passed, and then Josh Richardson has missed some time this year. So we'll move on to 14. I'll quickly talk about my guy. We've already talked about him. Kemba Walker, he's been incredible this year. We already actually kind of went into him, and he's been kind of like more of a locker room guy for them this year. Not the whole controversy stuff they had last year with Kyrie Irving. He's actually been loved by everybody, the fans, the players, the coaching staff seem to love him. I was listening to like the Bill Simmons podcast, and he had like Brian Windhorst on, and they were talking about how it's just like night and day difference between Kyrie and Kemba. So yeah, I have him at 14. And your 14th guy is?
My 14th guy is actually Brandon Ingram.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't have Brandon Ingram on my list. The only reason I didn't have him on my list, I mean, he's having an incredible year. I think he's top 3 most improved. If you want Siakam, Graham, him, bam, cool with that. I just think the reason why I also didn't consider Zach LaVine, I think they're just more empty stats guys this year. I think Ingram's an incredible player, and I think he could be a 3 on a championship team. At least that's where I could see him as. Maybe he could be a 2 and develop into 1. I think he's been incredible this year. I'd have him in the top 20. Why'd you have him?
Going back to what you said about LaVine, I think I didn't put LaVine in my top 20 because and
his defense is really bad still.
Yeah, and
but Ingram's been a good defender.
He's been a good defender, and he's something to take note of this year. He's got career highs in pretty much almost every category. And he's playing really missed a couple games due to injury. But I think this Pelicans team is really in like a transitional stage. Like moving on from the AD and like even like DeMarcus Cousins era a little bit, and now they're kind of working on their young core. Lonzo's looking pretty good. Gotta wait for Zion to come back, but I honestly, a lot of people may think it's high, but I just love the way Brandon Ingram's looking this year.
I mean, he's shooting 50% on mid-ranges and 43% on long twos, which is crazy. And it's not. I don't think that was sustainable. Maybe on the long twos because he shot 44% last year, but 50% on mid-ranges, that's incredible. Yeah, I think he's been good. I think he's deserving of the rookie max extension at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if we saw him on a better team, I mean, I try to put a lot of these guys having winning records, obviously like Towns and Lillard don't at the moment, or Beal. I just think they're obviously a step up than Brandon Ingram, but I like the pick there. I didn't expect him to honestly come up, so I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What was he, your 14th or 15th guy?
He was my 14th.
Okay, so we'll move on to 15. I had Donovan Mitchell, somebody we haven't mentioned yet. Now, the Jazz have been incredibly disappointing this year. They are 16-11. A lot of people thought they were going to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference. They still are, but obviously not into that elite tier.
Yeah.
Mike Conley's been pretty horrible, which is really sad because he was their big free agency acquisition, or trade acquisition, in the offseason. Bojan's been good, but I think Mitchell, 25 points, about 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shooting 36 on threes on 6 attempts a night. He's taking about 21 shots a night, and his defense is still really, really good for a 3-year man. Obviously, he came out a little bit older, but I have him at 15. Who's your 15th guy?
My 15 is actually Devin Booker.
Okay. I'll get to Devin Booker very soon, but why'd you have Devin Booker? I'm actually curious, why'd you have Devin Booker over Donovan Mitchell?
Because I feel that, Donovan Mitchell, like him and Rudy are kind of, they're like the two, young core guys in Utah, and just the fact that they've kind of taken a bit of a dip from expectations this year. They're not playing as well as a lot of people thought they would, and I think the Suns, although they is their record great by any means? No, it's 11-16, but they are sitting at the 9 right now, with the Kings at the 8 and the Thunder at the 7. So 2 very catchable teams for them if they continue to figure out with DeAndre Ayton coming back very recently. It's going to be great to see him back in the rotation. And I think Devin Booker is just one of those young, gritty guys who really wants to build his team and bring him from the bottom into the playoff contender, and it's going to be great if they see that happen. I love Devin Booker.
You know his splits right now? 50, 40, 90. He's part of that club right now.
Really?
Yeah, he's 51% from the field if you round up, 41% on threes, and 90% from the line, which is crazy. And it makes me feel bad that I don't have him in my top 15 when he's averaging 25 points on 50, 40, 90 shooting. The only reason I had Donovan over is just team record. Obviously, the team around Donovan is better than the team around Devin Booker. They are the same age, so I'm not going to really give any experience to either or. Obviously, Mitchell played more in college. Booker's played more in the NBA. But Booker's my 16th guy. If you want to put Booker over Mitchell, that's completely fine by me. I don't think there's a marginal difference between the two. I think they're pretty close.
Yeah.
So transition, who's your 16th guy?
My 16th is Paul George.
Okay, so you have Paul George a little bit lower than me. I had him at 13. Did you maybe just have him not as high because of the games played, or you missed in the beginning of the year?
Yeah, in a way. I also just think that this like the 13 to even 18 range, those are kind of this is where it's kind of they can fluctuate a lot. So I feel like a lot of these guys are pretty much just as good as each other, and they're gonna be a bit different. For everybody.
And once you get to this 13, 18 range, it's just the crapshoot. You're just throwing in any players. And they're all very close to each other. And obviously, like I said before, if you put 100 people in a room next to them, they're 13 to 18 best players. Not one will be the same.
They're gonna be so different.
So we just wrapped up 16. My 17th guy, I'm interested to see if he's on your list, is Bam Adebayo.
Bam is not on my.
Okay.
It's not on
Bam Adebayo. Obviously, everybody loves Bam this year. He's been one of the more improved players this year. He's probably been one of the popular guys this year. 15 points, 11 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks. He's one of the better passing big men, but his elite defense is why I think he's number 17 for me. He's guarding point guards. He was guarding Russell Westbrook when he played the Rockets, which is just incredible. He's 22 years old. I don't think people saw this jump this quickly into year 3. Maybe it's Spoelstra, maybe it's just player development over in Miami, which they have a really good track record of. So yeah, I have him at 17. And I honestly kind of wanted to put him higher. It was just kind of hard, but I think Bam's an all-star this year. I think he's in the MIP conversation. Who's your 17th player?
My 17 is Trae Young.
Okay. I actually didn't have Trae Young on this list. Now, okay, we'll get to that.
Was he in your, was he an honorable mention?
Yeah, he was an honorable mention. Okay. He was one of the more empty stats guys. Now, he's been incredible. Second best rookie so far from the 2018 draft class. I just think his stats wouldn't be this good If the team was a little bit better, I think the garbage time has to do a little bit with it. He's playing at the end of blowouts. It's like, and he's trying to kind of not stat pad, but like
I can see that. Yeah, I can see why you would think that, and and like honestly, like it does. Yeah, you do see examples of that. And I could see why some would think he is kind of like a garbage time player, but I just feel that he's also a second year guy in a team in Atlanta that is really, really, really not playing that well. They're sitting at the bottom of the East at 6-22, winning 21% of their games. So like there's just a lot of the games they aren't going to be close because of just sometimes the difference in skill and that team they have a couple young guys that have serious shots at becoming something, and I think Trae Young's kind of the core of that young squad, and I just love watching him, honestly.
Yeah, I just think I personally think the Hawks have been kind of disappointing this year. Hunter's been actually solid. Reddish has been pretty bad.
Yeah.
I put 4 players on this list that didn't have a winning record at the moment: Devin Booker, Karl-Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, and Damian Lillard, who I think would make everyone's top 20. So that was the reason I didn't put Young in the top 20, mainly because of his record. And I wanted to put guys that were kind of contributing to team success in this top 20. But Young's been incredible. I think he's better than a couple point guards I have coming up on this list overall-wise. But I just think this year I incorporate team success and also defense. Young hasn't been a good defender, but he's averaging 28 and 8 in his second year as a rookie. He's shooting 38% on threes on like 9 attempts a night, which is incredible. So was he your 17th or 18th guy?
He was my 17th guy.
Who's your 18th guy?
My 18 is Rudy.
Okay. Defense mainly? He's still a staple there?
And he's averaging 15 and 14. Like, he's one of those guys that you love. Like Andre Drummond, I've always really liked him. He's we'll get to him in a little bit. Like, I love the guys that average like mid to high teens in points and like are just matching that in rebounds. I think it's really just like, I don't know, it's just really gritty. I love guys like that.
Yeah, I didn't have Rudy, which I honestly he was an honorable mention, and you could have put him on my top 20 list. I wouldn't care that much, but yeah, his defense has been incredible. He's still really good in the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
I would just wish him and I guess Mike Conley, obviously it'll take some time for them to coexist and learn each other's flows on the pick and roll. But yeah, I think he's been incredible this year. Obviously, he'll be in one of the top voters for Defensive Player of the Year once again.
For his third time in a row.
Yeah, I had Malcolm Brogdon at 18.
Malcolm Brogdon was actually one of my honorable mentions who I really, really, really wanted to put in there. And like I said before, I love Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah.
So talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, so like he's on the 18th player on my list, and I think overall he's been about a top 25, top 30 guy this year. And if you would have told Kevin Pritchard that or any other GM or president, they would have been lined up to try to sign this guy on a max deal. He's averaging 19 points this year, 7.5 assists, and he's shooting 35 on threes on not too much volume, 4 attempts a night. He's an incredible free throw shooter, 93% from the line. His defense is phenomenal. Pick and rolls, switches, off ball. I love his defense. Obviously, he was a senior at UVA, or was he a junior?
But I believe he was a senior. He was older, right? He
came out at 24 was his rookie year.
Yeah.
So he's 27 in his fourth year when some guys are 22, 23. So obviously he has a little bit more experience, which I honestly think nowadays isn't horrible for some prospects. They need to kind of stay extra years just because they're super raw, just to get more experience. But yeah, I think Malcolm has been incredible, and the Indiana Pacers are one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. 19-9 without Oladipo, without their best player.
It's going to be great to watch somebody comes back, honestly. I think they can make a push for the top 4. Like, it's going to be awesome to watch that. And yeah, like you said, with the staying and developing, like, look at Buddy Hield. Like, he stayed 4 years at Oklahoma, and now he's playing very, very well in Sacramento.
Yeah. So that was my 18th guy. So we got 2 more left. Who was your 19th guy?
My 19th is actually a guy, like I said before, Andre Drummond. I know the Pistons are not playing great, but they're
11 and 16.
Yeah,
they are the 10th seed.
Yeah, but they're also a game out of the playoffs. I know it's only 30 games in, but being a game out of there because it's kind of like a big clump of teams that are kind of the same round records. And like I said, I love guys like Andre Drummond, good defenders, averaging 18 and 17. Like it's I love watching it with 3 assists to go along with it. A touch above his career average in all 3. And he's still only 26. And like you said about Malcolm Brogdon, with the payday, he's someone that can get a huge payday.
You think he's worth the max? Or like, let's say, what would you pay him? 4-year deal on the table. How much are you paying him a year?
I think he deserves the max, to be honest with you, because if he's 26 this year going into his age 27 season, it's something that only a few players really qualify for it, and he's still in his prime. You know what I mean? Like 26
Yeah.
to 30.
I just think his offensive limitations, he can't space the floor. I wouldn't pay him more than $25 million a year, and I think he will make over $25 million a year. I think a team like Charlotte will give him the max.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's particularly worth. I think he's a fine rim protector. I think he's the best rebounder in the NBA, but that can only make your team go so far in the playoffs when you are investing, let's say, 33% of the team's money into a guy who can't really create his own shot.
Yeah, I think he would fit very well on a team that they have a young core. And make a push, for like the 6 or the 5 this year, to where they sign him and they still have room for their other guys to develop on their rookie deals or the small contracts they got him for after their rookie deal, to help them keep climbing up in their conference. I think he fits best in with a team like that. Do I think the Bucks give him the Supermax? No.
Give him the Pistons.
I think the Pistons
No, you said the Bucks would give him the Supermax.
No. I'm saying the Bucks. Like, do I think the Bucks are gonna give the Supermax to play next to Giannis? No.
Oh, okay.
But
I think you can't give someone the Supermax if they're not on your team.
Correct. You're right. No, you're right. No, 100%.
But no, I don't know. I think Charlotte, they were rumored to trade for him. Because I mean, for Charlotte, actually, that's not or if they go after him in the offseason, that's not a horrible idea. Like, no one's really coming to Charlotte, and if Andre Drummond's like that's his only max offer on the table, I think that's good for both parties. Charlotte gets a free agent that they probably wouldn't get any year. They have a solid young core, I would say, better than what it thought was going to be. And what Graham's been incredible. Rozier, PJ Washington has been actually really good as a rookie, but obviously Bridges and Monk have disappointed. But yeah, I think he can get paid definitely in the offseason, like you were saying. And I think he's deserving of big money. I just think the way the NBA is today, he's not worth the big money.
I see your point on that. I think it really could. It could go either way, but I definitely do see your point. But like, just a question, like if you're Andre Drummond, and there's a max offer on the table to go to Charlotte, or you get something like, like $5 or $6 million below the max a year, still 4 years, so you're missing out like $20 million total. Are you going to a team that you feel you can be a contender, or do you want to be a max guy?
Honestly, if I was him, I would go to the contender, obviously, but I don't think that's who he is. I think he'll go for the max money. I think he's going to look for the most money possible. I don't really think he's a winning player, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't really know Andre Drummond. I don't know him personally, obviously. So that was your 19th guy or 18th guy?
That was my 19th.
Okay, my 19th is actually Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has taken a step in his third year. I really like his defense this year. I think he's growing as a defensive player, and I think he actually has the most defensive potential on that team out of him and Jaylen Brown.
Playing great.
Yeah, he's averaging 21 points a game, about 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Not shooting great from the field, 41%, but he is shooting 36 from downtown on 7 attempts, so he's a volume shooter this year, and he is getting to the line about 4 times a game, which is a career high. You love to see that.
Yeah.
He's been a good two-way player this year, and I wanted to give another Boston player some love. I chose him over Hayward, obviously, because Hayward missed some time, and I chose him over Jaylen Brown. So he was my 19th guy. I'm guessing you probably didn't have in your top 20, Jason.
He's my 21, so my first honorable mention.
Okay. So we can move on to 20. My 20th may raise some eyebrows. I had Spencer Dinwiddie.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think Dinwiddie, I think he's an all-star this year, but he won't make it because I think Kyrie will come back from before the All-Star break, and then obviously Dinwiddie's volume or minutes will go down. But he's averaged 21.5 points this year, 6 assists. He's getting to the line about 6.5 times a night, which you love to see. And then I just really quickly want to pull up his numbers post-Kyrie or post-Kyrie injury. So he's averaging 24 points a night, 7.5 assists, and then he's getting to the line 7 times a game and shooting 31% from 30 in the 16 games Kyrie has missed. So he's been incredible this year, and without him, the Nets would not be over 500. They're 15-12. That's kind of why I wanted to put him here over Trae Young, because they're actually good this year, the Nets, unlike the Hawks, who are bad. So yeah, he was my 20th guy. Who do you got at 20?
My 20 is Donovan Mitchell. I know you mentioned him a while ago. What'd you have him, like 15 or 16?
Yeah, I had him at 15.
Yeah. Just a couple things about Donovan Mitchell this year. I think just the whole thing with the Jazz being a bit disappointing. That's what hurt me a little bit for him. But he's this year, I know he's only been a 3-year guy, but he's got career highs in points, rebounds, efficient field goal percentage, 2-point percentage, free throw percentage, and his lowest in turnovers. So he's by no means is part of the reason that the Jazz are kind of struggling. I think it's just a few roster moves and just a little getting into it. I think at the end of the year, what do you think they finished? Think they finished like the 5?
Yeah, what are they now? They're
the 6 right now.
They're the 6. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they fall below the 6. I don't think Utah, OKC, Sacramento, or Portland.
Yeah, it's just whether or not they can pass.
Houston or Denver
yeah.
or Dallas. Dallas might fall with the Luka.
It depends. It depends if Luka's ankle keeps giving him trouble in the future. I hope it doesn't because he's just phenomenal to watch.
Yeah. So that is our top 20. We'll go through our honorable mentions pretty quickly. We don't have to talk about them in their stats specifically. So who was just name all your honorable mentions? Who you considered in your top 20 but didn't have in your top 20?
Top 20 honorable mention is Jason Tatum, my first one.
Okay.
Jokic is my second. I know he's had a little bit of a down year, but still great. Ben Simmons, number 23. And then Brogdon and Lou Williams.
Yeah,
That's my other 2.
Okay. I actually didn't have Lou Will. I had the other guy. I had Montrezl Harrell there. But Ben Simmons was somebody else I was debating with Dinwiddie at 20, but I was just like, screw it. I'm putting Dinwiddie. At least he shoots from downtown. I know that's a stupid way to look at it, but I mean, Ben Simmons has been really good this year. Down, I think, what he's been from last year, but he's still a great defender. And I just would like to see him shoot more. It's not like a knock on him. I just think he can just expand his game, but I know everybody says that, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I had Trae Young, who you mentioned. I had Devontae Graham as an honorable mention.
He's playing great.
I like him. Yeah, I didn't put him in the top 20 just because Charlotte doesn't have a winning record, or at least isn't that good this year. Rudy Gobert, who you had pretty high, right?
Yeah, I had him 18. Just because,
okay.
Yeah, so, I just think he's a lockdown defender. I like watching guys like that. So.
Yeah, I had Jokic as well, Montrezl Harrell, who I just mentioned, and then I put Chris Paul in there just for give him some love. And OKC, he's been playing well as of late. So yeah, that is our top 20. If you want to just quickly just say your top 20, just so they can have it fresh in their minds.
So we got LeBron, Giannis, AD, Luka, James Harden, Karl Anthony Towns, Kawhi, Pascal Siakam, Jimmy Butler, Beal, Dame, Kemba, Joel Embiid, Brandon Ingram, Booker, Paul George, Trae Young, Rudy Gobert, Andre Drummond, and Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, I'll go through mine pretty quickly. Giannis 1, Harden at 2, Luka 3, LeBron 4, Anthony Davis 5, Siakam 6, Leonard 7, Lillard 8, Cat 9, Jimmy Butler 10, and then 11 was Bradley Beal, 12 Embiid, 13 Paul George, 14 Kemba, 15 Donovan, 16 Devin Booker, 17th Bam, 18th Brogdon, 19th Tatum, and then 20 Spencer Dinwiddie. All right, yeah, so that is going to be it for episode 10 of the Just Ballin' podcast. This was really fun to do. Thank you, Tom, for coming on. This was fun to do. Down. Yeah, so I definitely want to do another one of these soon. At least with time, we could obviously do something different, or we will do something different. So yeah, thank you all for listening, either on Spotify, either on Apple Pod, or on YouTube. So I appreciate that, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
See you guys.